In this one, I'm trying out a new enchantment plan from Marvel Superheroes. That card is called Death to Our Enemies, a 3 CMC card that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a tapped treasure token and put a plan counter on this enchantment. When the 4th plan counter is put onto this enchantment, sacrifice it, and when you do, it deals 7 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Seems pretty appropriate in a Prowess style deck, so we're going to find out if it's really worth the 4 card slots that it's taking up. The rest of the deck is exactly what you would expect it to be. We are, of course, playing 4 copies of Elusive Otter, 4 copies of Slickshot Show-Off, and 4 copies of Stormchaser's Talent, along with Boomerang Basics. This is our creature base for the deck. It's exactly what you would expect. And of course, then we have our usual suspects, stuff like Opt, Sleight of Hand, Flow State for a little bit of draw, Burst Lightning for some direct damage, or as a removal piece if we need it, and then finally Wild Ride to finish off what's going on in here. Oh, also bounce off if we need to save something or remove something. Very powerful. I've actually been really impressed with bounce off lately. So that is the deck. It's pretty typical. Mostly we're out here finding out if Death to Our Enemies is really going to be worth including in a deck like this. Let's hop into some games and see how this one performs. See you over there. Death to Our Enemies. I'm very curious about this card. It looks very interesting. I'm actually kind of curious if any of you guys have encountered it on the ladder, whether or not it blasted you down or if it just kind of hit the field and did a whole lot of nothing. That's the concern. Of course, it does create those treasure tokens, which is really powerful. That's the thing that I'm most excited about. I think, of course, 7 damage is always nice, but I really wonder, once you get it down for 3 mana, does it feel impactful? Maybe we're going to find out. So, we miss on our land. I think the opponent seems to be representing Jeskai control list. Maybe I'll just plot away the Slickshot Show-Off so that it doesn't get hit by, I don't know, get lost. Oh, we miss on our lands. Okay. Well, I guess I'm just going to go with this way. Flow State, hopefully hit a land here. Desperately need a land. Spire Bluff Canal is a good land. And probably, you know what? I'm just going to put as much damage on our opponent as I possibly can right now. Hit them down to 8. And that's the power of Prowess. That's why you still play Prowess. And this is actually, you know what? Kind of a good first game, because my concern with this card is it going to be even worth playing? Or do you end up just murdering your opponents before you can even get Death to Our Enemies onto the field? It could be the case that the full 4 of Death to Our Enemies is not really necessary. Well, we get to find out again. Actually, and we'll probably get to play it out this time around too. Maybe this Otter will murder the opponent before this hits the field, though. Maybe the full 4 of is a little bit ambitious, a little bit greedy, but I really want it to be a thing because I think it's such a neat card. I actually really like the plans. I think the power of Otters again. What? This is scuffed. Oh man, it's fine. We had a little bit of a false start here. 2 quick easy wins, but we'll get some game. We'll get some good games, and we got our Death to Our Enemies again, so it's fine. We also have the terror that is Otter 1/1 Otter, along with its best friend Boomerang Basics, the real terror of the format. Oh boy, we kind of miss on our lands here, but I think it's okay just to do this. Get in for 2 points of damage. Probably should have attacked before I plotted the Slickshot Show-Off. That's bad mechanics on my side. Ooh, the opponent representing Ul Ugin. So we need to find the land. I'm gonna put out the Slickshot. If they want to counter the Slickshot or murder the Slickshot, it's kind of fine. Okay, that's good because we're here. We're here to send death to our enemies. Give me a basic land, please. That sucks. That really sucks. Is it worth it to fire this off? I think it kind of is. Just use our mana efficiently. And again, we need to find that 3rd land so that I can get a death to our enemies onto the field. And then this stuff can really start sending this off. The reason I put that extra damage on the opponent's dome is because... Okay. Because if I can trigger this a couple of times, it's going to be really good news. Do I just attack in with the 1/1 Otter to try to get them to do something, or do I try to get that prowess trigger on the Otter by throwing out the death to our enemies? And I think probably I try to just go in on the opponent. Let's see what they can react. All right. I have a feeling that this is going to get countered. Probably they have another 3 steps ahead. In that case, spelling exhale. Okay. Probably should have tried to get the extra point of prowess. Okay. There. They had that. They had to take 2 points of damage for that to cast, though. Their mana base is just wrecking them right now. Okay, here might be a good opportunity for us to sneak this death to our enemies onto the field, because they only have 1 mana available to them. This thing's it's landing all day long, and that Steam Vents was actually a pretty good draw, because what this does is it starts our death to our enemies cycling thing. We get to start making treasure tokens, and we have more mana to do things with. I mean, think about that. Death to our enemies, making a whole bunch of mana can maybe actually get us up to a level 3. Okay, we have enough mana. I think I'm just going to throw out the Slickshot. And then from here, another Stormchaser's Talent. Surely they have some way of interacting with the Slickshot, right? And then from here, do I mean, yeah, I got to bounce back. I got to do this now. We have 7 damage impending on the opponent's face. That's pretty good for the opponent, though, that draw. Give me a Wild Ride. Dang, not a Wild Ride. Do I put out the Flow State? I think I cast the Flow State now, because I really don't want this Flow State to get canceled or countered. And there's our death to our enemies. So 7 damage onto the dome. Boom. And we find damage for next turn. We find an opt, I think. We go this way. So this is actually lethal damage against the opponent, because we can kick it. We definitely have enough mana. 2, 4, 6, 8 mana available to us. They could have now 2, 4, 6, 7. They do have Jeskai Revelation mana, which is irrelevant, actually. It's not going to gain them life. GG. GG, opponent. What am I saying? It doesn't gain them life. Of course it gains them life. Why did I think it didn't gain them life? 2, 4, 6, 8 mana. This is 5. It's not quite enough. So, let's... Stormchaser's Talent. What do we got in our graveyard, by the way? Burst Lightning. Did I throw it away here by putting that out? Maybe? Maybe? Oh, what do I want to get? What do I want to get back with this? I could go and get Burst Lightning onto these 2 creatures. That's going to be enough damage. I have just enough damage to do this, right? Okay. We got there. We got there. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. We're beating this Jeskai deck. The opponent decided not to kill my Otter, hoping that the 1/1 monks would keep the Otter at bay. But the Otter, the thing is about Otters is that they're vicious. They don't care about your 1/1 humans. They're just going to go right through you, grab at the throat, take you down. I don't know what I'm saying. That was sketchy, but we beat a Jeskai control deck. Thankfully, their mana base definitely helped us a little bit, and we did get to see Death to Our Enemies actually dome somebody for 7. Aside from the damage, though, what was actually impressive about that enchantment was all of the treasure tokens that it ended up making gave us so much mana to work with in that last turn to be able to piece it together, even though I think I didn't need to throw the Stormchaser's Talent onto the field, I think is what I used that 1 mana for. I should have stopped and thought a little bit more carefully about my lines. Doesn't matter, though. We did get there. This time around, we have a much more traditional looking prowess list hand, and we get to lead on another... Man, this card. Last video playing the Namor deck, Stormchaser's Talent definitely stole the show. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's just unbelievable what you're able to do with Stormchaser's Talent. It's too powerful. Now the opponent, green, that means you lead out on your Slickshot Show-Off and you're not worried about the opponent having removal, probably. Really. Okay. Well, we're going to shock this in. We're going to sleight of hand. Maybe we can find a wild ride. We always want wild ride. Mana for the future. Okay. Mana for the future. It's fine. Probably if I'm... Well, now it doesn't really matter. I'm going to say I should have had that otter on the field to get some prowess triggers, but even if I hit a wild ride now, it doesn't do anything. Grab the boomerang basics. This is 11 damage coming in on an opponent who missed their land drop. Cerberus is probably in big old trouble. Well, I don't know how somebody gets out of this. Oh, this is a Kona deck that has drawn very poorly, maybe? Do we play with our food? Oh, I thought I was casting boomerang basics. Whatever, let's just go in. We don't need to play with our food too much. Okay. Hey, actually, this is something I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about in the next video. The next match. I had the thought recently about when new sets come out. I tend to play a lot of... I try to play decks, especially for the first like week or two. The decks that are using a lot of the new cards. Like you could see in those first few videos that I put out, I played a lot of the superheroes very early on in the ladder, right? And then as we go on, I'm trying to, do the same thing, but we're kind of running out of cards that we can actually put into our decks that are going to make them effective or good. So then you kind of get a deck like this where it's an old build of a deck, but it's playing one new card. Probably I should have put out the island instead of firing off the sleight of hand using the Spiral Bluff mana. It doesn't matter in the end. What we need is... This is not bad, actually, because that's going to be flow state. We will put a sorcery or instant speed into the graveyard with this opt. This will draw some more stuff. Okay, so my point was that I think when you see a lot of streamers around release time, you see them putting out a lot of lists that are playing new cards. But I would say that you have to be extraordinarily cautious around those lists because they are often experimental or at least untested, something unreliable. I want to get both of these cards onto the field, but I have a feeling that the opponent is sandbagging counter magic. Yeah, I want to have the death to our enemies a little bit more than the storm. Ah, man, they're both good. Yep. Oh, don't auto pass. Okay. Don't want to flow state here. Find a death to our enemies and burst lightning. So, what was my point? When you look at Untapped, when you look at the decks that people are actually playing right now, the decks that are doing well in the meta, that are still taking people into Mythic, it's the stuff that was doing it last month. It was the stuff that was all being played before Marvel Superheroes came out. So this opponent... Okay, we met our match. We met our have every answer in the deck opponent. Yikes. Yeah. But is that okay? I think it's probably okay that there are people out here playing experimental stuff. It's not such a big deal. Jiminy, we're not resolving anything today. They're going to run out of cards though, right? What an opponent here. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. I could return this back to our hand just to draw a spell. Is it worth doing that? I think so, because I'm never going to be able to use these map tokens. I just want to cycle that away. Devotion has thrown me off my game here, and I don't really know what to do right now. They missed their land drop. They have 4 cards in hand. We have no things. Yeah. So I had a whole point. I had a whole thought about new decks. People having to be a little bit careful with how hyped up they get about like new cards. Are these actually going to be really good or not? I don't know. Like the Squirrel Girl deck, it was so popular when it first came out. I still haven't really tried it. I want to try it just for the sake of having the content on the channel. But yeah, don't go rushing into making stuff. This sucks. So our opponent is probably sitting there with a mitt full of removal and counter spells. And now they're up to 7 mana next turn, probably definitely 7 mana next turn with this Consult the Star Charts. Is it really worth it for me to even sit in this game? And I think the answer is probably no. Yeah, I don't want to sit through this. If this resolves, maybe I can think about it, but I have a feeling they probably have a 3 steps ahead hard counter for this. Okay. Are they just sitting on No More Lies and they can't counter this stuff? Well then, let's try it again. We still have 3 mana. They don't have Jeskai Revelation. We'll try this. They might have Get Lost or... Okay. I was a little doubtful that this was really going to work out for me, but now, with possibility of getting up to level 3 being on the table, I guess it's probably fine. Black Panther. Black Panther. Black Bounce Black Panther? I guess. I don't know. I didn't expect T'Challa to come out to play. That's a bit of a problem, but we do have a ton of mana so that we can actually bring back that bounce off with the level 2 of Stormchaser's talent. Okay. Well, let's do that. Let's boomerang basics back our Stormchaser's talent. I still feel like they are sitting on No More Lies. That's the read I get on them. Just a straight 3 steps ahead. Okay. T'Challa is going to be a big old problem. I'm not going to be able to get rid of it outside of bouncing it. But they can't flash it in this time around. I kind of like that as a win con. Black Panther. Coming in for the opponent. Flash. That's a really good card to... Yeah. As... This is an obnoxious deck. This is just... all... But how does this deck beat, like, Jeskai Revelation? I don't... Maybe it doesn't? Stormchaser's talent there was a choice. I don't know if that's what I would have been choosing to exile, because we already had some in the graveyard, one on the field. I don't know about that. Let's do... Am I going to regret the flow state? How much mana do they have open? They still have 3 mana open. I still feel like they have probably... No More Lies. That's the card that I'm putting them on, but it could be just T'Challa. Like, they did have a No More Lies in there. Yeah. We have to be careful around that. So I grab the flow state. I can play it out now. Or I grab the boomerang basic and try to bounce back this on the next turn. Okay. Now, if they just flash out T'Challa now, that would be real swell. Maybe they're thinking that they can... Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try it. They can react. What I was thinking is they are going to put out T'Challa when we were going to draw our second card, and then try to draw an extra card with T'Challa's second ability. But it doesn't seem like that's what we're planning on doing. So now they're probably just looking to put the king onto the field with Flash one more time. This match has just derailed this whole video. We were pumping along pretty nicely, and now I feel like this match slowed things down to a grinding halt. So what am I going to do about King T'Challa, who's inevitably coming onto the field this turn? Yep. Okay, let's try opting into maybe another bounce off. Wild Ride. Wild Ride. Interesting. Is it good enough? They're definitely going to be attacking in with the Black Panther. The thing is, I don't think I'm going to be able to actually get a creature through. I'd rather have the flow state. This thing is just so brutal. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Black Panther. So this card is just like the card that hoses our deck. Shoot the Sheriff on our Otter is probably okay, but they're going to hit us, draw 2 cards, still have boatloads of mana available to them. And they're just, oh yeah, of course, still in combat. 34 cards. We're not going to deck them. Actually, we've drawn more cards than them. So, Death to our enemy, we still have 1 left in our deck that could provide a little bit more oomph. Good. But a hand, probably okay. So let's go with returning the Otter. And then, you know, we do have, like, this is 8 points of damage, maybe 8 points of damage on top of the 7. Find an island. Island is okay. We have tons of mana. Talent, I'm actually kind of feeling like, you know what? Actually, maybe I shouldn't have returned the Stormchaser talent because now they... Yeah. I think this is where I should have... now I'm realizing I should have recognized that I had so much mana and I really should have geared up for leveling this up. That being said, it's possible that they would have had to get lost for it once we did level it up. I'm just a little bit disappointed in myself because I think probably that would have been at least an avenue that I could have tried to take, because now I don't know if I'm going to be able to find 11 more points of damage, considering that they are going to have a full mitt of cards. There's no way that they don't have another 6 or 7 counter spells. They can still have 1 more 3 steps ahead. They probably have no more lies. That's fine. Actually, it's pretty good. So if they need the hard counter, though, for the death to our family. Death to our enemies. Okay, let's go. Baby, resolve. Resolve. No more lies. We pay for it. We pay for it all day. Okay. Got another one. How long have they been holding on to that no more lies? Because I feel like we have been kind of playing around it. Grab the opt. How much mana do I have? 4, 5, 6. This is 5. Need a land. Right? I played my land for the turn. I'm so dumb. I'm dumb. Okay. We need to survive. That's a Black Panther. Or that's, what the star charts. Okay. I really want to... Oh, I don't need to kick it. Oh, I passed through. Oh, maybe that was my moment. Dang. I was too focused on having to kick these burst lightnings, but I don't need to kick them. Kicking them would be better. Drawn so much. They've drawn so much. Oh, I think I bungled this. Oh, no. Do I fire? No. We go to my turn. We untap with this outrageous amount of mana. Do we wild ride the Black Panther? Yeah, okay. Let's wild ride the Black Panther. Create another tap treasure token. See if they react. They don't react. Okay. Try Burst Lightning up top. That's the 4th counter onto Death to our enemies. They do have... they do potentially have access to Get Lost. Do we pay for it? Pay for it, right? I guess I shouldn't have messed around with this wild ride, I think. That's 7 damage up top. This is 11 damage on the stack. Oh, yes! My goodness, devotion. What what a crazy match. Think about how out of that match I was. I thought for sure we were toast so many turns ago when we saw, you know, this graveyard, and we fought through all of this I know this was a victory for all those who suffer on the ladder when they run into these decks. I know there are some of you that just stood up and started clapping in your living room. We took down Devotion, the villain on the ladder, who's admittedly playing a very awesome Black Panther build of the deck, and I do genuinely appreciate that inclusion in this deck. This part of the deck, not so much. Oh, I am fired up after that one. Man, that felt like the longest game. That one game was probably longer than all the other games that I played so far in this video. And I think I started off that video or that match like rambling on about the decks that people are, you know, choosing to play and around release, and I never finished that thought or made it a coherent thought. And I don't think it's ever going to become a coherent thought. I'm just going to leave it. But what we are going to do is more death to our enemies, because I am kind of falling in love with this card. It won us the game. It did 14 points of damage to the opponent. It produced a tremendous amount of mana for us. And wow, maybe it is a good inclusion in this deck as a secondary, you know, win con. You know, didn't want to see the white mana there. But you know what? This does give us the opportunity to get the death to our enemies onto the field. That's some good news. Yeah, it's kind of like we're not all in on just doing the slick shot, wild ride nonsense, flinging the slicky into our opponent's dome. We're, you know, pacing ourselves a little bit and having this extra little bit of damage that hang back. Okay, that sucks because the opponent has gained 6 life. Their troubles. So what we could do here is Slickshot Show-Off and then have the bounce off as a way of rescuing the Slickshot Show-Off. I could also just put it onto the field and wild ride it, but we'll hit them for 1. I think the bounce off, I kind of want to get the bounce off into the graveyard because of the flow state. We have sorcery in our graveyard. Okay. But maybe our opponent just doesn't. Maybe our opponent casts a main phase consult the star charts after putting a land onto the field. That's not what you want to be doing. You definitely want to be passing with 4 mana open and not, especially with a slick shot on the field. Okay, we need a good draw. Please, good draw. That's an awful draw. That's okay, but I think it's fine to try to put, that's a good draw, as much damage as we can onto the opponent. I kind of want to keep my slick shot around. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just return this, get in for 5. We'll have plenty of mana for the following turn, and I'm going to hold this. Do I hold the bounce off or do I return it now? You know what? Slicky, you return my baby. Now we have 7 points of damage on the field with this death to our enemies. Probably they're not interacting with it. If they do interact with it, then we have a tremendous amount of damage coming in with Stormchaser's Talent and Slickshot Show-Off with the Wild Ride. And we have tons and tons of mana. They have also 4 mana available to them, so we might not be able to get in so cleanly. But you better believe we're trying. Okay, death to our enemies expires. It kind of feels like they don't have, it feels like they have creature removal, which they might have. Nothing. I should have led on the Slickshot Show-Off, by the way. I don't know, it's complicated. No, that was a misplay. I should have definitely gone out Slickshot Show-Off first before putting out the Stormchaser's Talent, because then I could have, if they tried to kill the Slickshot Show-Off in response to the Stormchasers, I could have bounced the Slicky back, and I still would have had more than enough mana to replay the Slickshot Show-Off. and then load up Wild Ride. Like they have 4 mana available, maybe 3, depending on. They're probably gonna have some instants 4 mana. Cool. Number 7. I don't know. Have things been moving along? I think they've been moving along just fine. Ooh. If our mana base were just a little bit nicer, we could have kept that one. But not the case. Suppose we get rid of Boomerang Basics and just slide a hand, something, and I think I'm going to go with the Opt. And the reason I'm going with the Opt is because I want my flow state to be on. Oh. Okay. Double flow state. So, because the opponent is on mono green, I think I'm just leading out on the Slickshot. Next turn, we will go with the Opt. Hopefully find a land, then flow state, and then I can get some extra damage in. It's so risky now because of my mana. Because of the Verge. Verges suck. Verges are so bad. So now the choice is Boomerang Basics away this Mossborn Hydra. Have to, right? I have to set the opponent back a turn. I don't think I can risk having a Mossborn Hydra on the field. No. We're not playing that game. They put it out again. They grow it up to level 2 to a 4/4. Okay. It sucks. It sucks so bad. Man, it's painful. But at this point, so much damage coming in. Okay. We wait one more turn. They can't protect it because this Fable Passage would just come in. Unfortunately, they were smart enough to not crack Fable Passage right away. So now they can play out the Mossborn Hydra and at least get one more trigger on that. We need an island. We get an island and we're going to be cooking. If we don't get an island, we're in trouble. Thank goodness. Thank goodness gracious. We take some damage. We Opt. We're digging into our library to find maybe a way of killing our opponent. Bounce off. Because they, again, don't have a way of protecting this Mossborn Hydra because they missed on their 4th land. And they kind of, in this case, they kind of greedily didn't crack the Fable Passage at some point. I don't know. They would have been better off doing that at some point. Doesn't matter. Death to our enemies, I think it's a little bit too late for that. So we're just going to grab the cheap spells. Going to hit the opponent for 7, take them down to 6. Then hopefully Slickshot can get the job done on the following turn. These bounce spells have been just incredible. Now they do have protection, but it's fun, isn't it? I'm having fun. We should be fine. There's no way they have anything for 1 mana, right? And even if they did have something like are they going to jump into the sky with this and we just bounce off the Mossborn Hydra? Like, grab this and the flow state. I'm just being a little bit careful because I want to beat this opponent. It's landfall. We're taking down all the big bads in this video, making sure that these people know who's boss around here. And you want to know who the boss is? The Slickshot Show-Off. We got more in us. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Game number 8. So far, obviously, the deck has been ripping through people. Admittedly, our draws have been quite good. But I think that's just the deck. The deck obviously sees a lot of cards because of the amount of draw that's in the deck. And then all of our threats are pretty nasty. And again, I was a little bit lukewarm on Death to Our Enemies, but now I am coming around on it. I think I'm bolting the Llanowar Elf here. I think I'm taking it out. And then next turn, we have probably the Stormchaser's talent into Elusive Otter plan. The opponent mulliganed. I actually didn't notice that they mulliganed. wasn't paying close enough attention. So Stormchaser's talent, Otter, will set up for a pretty good turn number 3. Hopefully we find our land with the Sleight of Hands or the Boomerang Basics. And then we get in quite a bit of damage against an opponent who's just digging through their deck with Quantum Riddlers. Hopefully they can't bounce the Quantum Riddler back to their, bounce it back to the field. If they are able to do that, which I'm kind of feeling like they might be able to do that. Nope, okay. I'm fine with that. Low state. All right, let's go this route, because if we end up finding the land, then we can just play out the Stormchaser's talent. Okay, slide a hand into a land. Okay, Firewolf Canal is a good. We get in for 4. We make another Otter. And unfortunately, I don't know if this is going to be a death to our enemy's game as much as I would like it to be. I'm not really sure if that's going to be the case. Just Zurok. Okay. Kind of annoying. Well, now death to our enemies kind of seems like an okay thing. So my choice here is, do I dig for a land and then attack in with creatures that are going to get awfully big? Yeah, maybe it's just that. Maybe we just challenge the Zurok. They missed their land. We find this and this. That's fine. And we are going to lose one of our creatures here, but I don't think it's such a big deal for us to lose that when we are taking the opponent down so much. Like, it's fine. Another float. They know what's happening. They got stuck on mana. We obviously were going to kill their Zurok, or at least trade with the Zurok. And Otters. People must be so what did you want banned more? Hub or Stormchaser's talent? And honestly, it might be Stormchaser's talent. Vera? Is that how you say this name? Up next, our 9th opponent. We get to go first one more time. We got our death to our enemies. I'm keeping this one. I would say this hand looks a little bit sketch, me on the surface level, but we do have a turn 1 elusive Otter. I mean, it's great. It's a fine hand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're going to have trouble with this one. But I want to get this death to our enemies onto the field, hopefully. And it seems like that's going to be the case. So, do I want to up on this Sleight of Hand? And I think the answer is yes. We can use the Burst Lightning to kill this Nidoking Razorhead that I knew 100% that they were going to put onto the field. It's just like, you play the game enough. You know the play patterns. You know what everybody's doing out here. And we now have 2 death to our enemies on the field. We're going to be making so much mana. I hope I find a mana source. Would be really nice. That's a problem. That's actually a real big problem. To be greedy and put out a second death to our enemies. We're at 18 life. This makes 1 treasure token, so we're up to 4 mana, 5 mana possibly next turn. Maybe we can do a lot of stuff. What does this thing do? Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, this creature deals 2 damage to target opponent. So they're limited to 1 ping. Dang. It's still fine though, right? So, I think what we're doing here is we're taking a little bit of damage. We are definitely taking damage here. But what we're going to do is we're going to use the second mode on... I think I like the Burst Lightning a little bit more. Because we're making so much mana, right? We're going to use... Oh, I was going to... Oh, wow. Do I want to Wild Ride, or do I want to... I think I want to do 4 damage to the opponent's face. Either way, it's going to be kind of the same amount of damage, right? So damage here, damage here. We will do 1, 2, 3 here, and 4 up here. So we're actually using the death to our enemies to take out our opponent's creatures. Isn't that neat? And now we have near infinite mana. Like, really, we have so much mana. 6, 9 mana. Oh, that sucks. I don't like that. Opponent, no. Don't do that. Okay, if we need like Sleight of Hand or Opt off the top. Death to our enemies. Number 2. So if I... How much mana do I need to do everything? This is 2, 5, 6. I have then another 4. So I'm actually a little bit short on mana to do everything. How much damage is this actually to the opponent, though? This is 7. And this is representing 6. 7, 8. Am I wrong? It's just lethal damage. I should have counted it twice. Why didn't I count it twice? I think maybe I'm 1 short now that I'm at damage. Am I 1 short? I'm a lot short. This is only another 5 damage. No, I am 1 short. I'm exactly 1 short. So is it better for me to do Stormchaser's Talent to grab Sleight of Hand, and then Sleight of Hand to get a land? Okay, that's what we're going to try to do. That's the plan. Sleight of Hand into an untapped land, I think, wins it for us. For all the marbles here. Let's go. I don't know if the opponent can kill us on the backswing. Like, it can deal... No, 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 no. It's a tragedy. There are not that many basic lands in the deck. Please just put down a Hellkite Tyrant. Okay. Oh no. Easiest game of my life. Easiest game of my life, boys. We live the dream. Sometimes we... Yes. Hey. It's better to be lucky than good, right? Isn't that the age-old expression? I'd rather be lucky than good. We went on a 9-0 tear and ranked up into Diamond in the video. You love to see it. And I think that's where we're going to end it. We're not going to go for the 10th game. That's just a nice little way to end. To my absolute surprise, it seems like, in fact, Death to Our Enemies is a very real card. I went into this one very apprehensive. I wasn't sure how impactful Death to Our Enemies was going to be in a prowess deck, but boy, oh boy, did it ever feel instrumental to some of these wins. The amount of mana that it was just puking onto the field was incredible. That 7 damage most of the time going to the dome, but still we used it to kill a creature in that last game, probably to great effect in the end. We may have lost that game otherwise. Yeah, overall, Death to Our Enemies is a very real card. It's an uncommon card. So I know a whole bunch of you Slickshot Show-Off degenerates out there. You're on team AbojiiMTG. I know y'all have crafted this thing. You love your Slickshot Show-Offs as much as you hate them. You have access to this deck. If you're watching my channel, I'm almost certain you have access to this entire deck. 4 uncommon cards. Try Death to Our Enemies. It was a blast. You saw how much fun I was having in this video. And the run, the 9-0 run to go up through Platinum into Diamond shows that, yes, in fact, there is a lot of power in this deck. Of course, some of those matches were gimmies. Our opponents saw the turn 1 Otter and was like, nope, I'm out of here. And they just backed away. Those were those first 2 games where the opponents basically did nothing. But we had some really good back and forth against control decks, which we would often struggle against. But in the end, the tools are here. If you learn how to play with Death to Our Enemies, maybe there's actually a real card and a real strategy going on with this one. I'm usually, when I play these new decks that are playing new decks, these decks with new cards in them, I'm away from them like a little impressed or like a little lukewarm most of the time. This one I'm coming off hot. Like, oh my, Death to Our Enemies is kind of cool, man. This card... This is sick. I kind of want to order. I'm actually going to run off to the game store today and pick up some cards. Kind of want to grab a couple copies of Death to Our Enemies and just jam them in some EDH decks for funsies and see what happens from that. Like, who doesn't love making treasure tokens, right? Anyways, let me know what you think about including this enchantment plan in a basic traditional prowess Slickshot Show-Off Izzet deck, and if it's worth the 4 cards slots, 4-card slots. That's it for this one. I hope you all have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sarang ipana, and I will see all of you wonderful people, as always, in the next one. Bye-bye.